Joan Fadala, 2016 Scottsdale History Hall of Fame honoree. Joan Fadala is a retropreneur. She's made it her business to kindle our interest in the historic people, places, and events that have made Scottsdale great. As a community historian and author, she's brought to light many forgotten but fascinating areas of Scottsdale's past and helped the city, its businesses, and organizations preserve and celebrate their legacies. She's also served on many Scottsdale nonprofit boards and city commissions, championing preservation, human services, and history. Joan began dreaming of a life in Arizona by playing indoor cowgirl on snow days in Cincinnati. She got her first taste of the state during a family camping trip in 1961. After graduating from Ohio State and commissioning as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Air Force, she got her dream assignment as a public affairs officer at Luke Air Force Base. Joan met and married Air Force fighter pilot Gene, and they spent many off-duty hours in Scottsdale at places like Riata Pass, Trader Vic's, and the Windmill Dinner Theater. After serving in several other Air Force and corporate public relations positions throughout the U.S. and overseas, she landed back in Arizona in 1991 as the communications director of the Scottsdale Chamber of Commerce. From the moment she arrived, she started researching area history, realizing that it was important to understand the context in which many of the significant changes taking place in Scottsdale were occurring. Joan's first history project was documenting and planning events to celebrate the Scottsdale Chamber's 50th anniversary in 1997. She also led a chamber team that made some history of its own, earning a national award for the innovative City of Good Sports Reporter's Notebook, distributed to media covering the Valley's first Super Bowl in 1996 and launching the Chamber's first website in 1997. Joan started her writing and consulting business in 1999 with a focus on researching and communicating the many aspects of Scottsdale area history. A national publisher asked her to do a coffee table book on Scottsdale history that would benefit the McDowell-Sonoran Land Trust. Historic Scottsdale, A Life from the Land premiered during Scottsdale's 50th anniversary of incorporation and put Joan on the map as a community historian and author. Since 2001, she's had 6 additional books published. Subjects include the history of Scottsdale in photos, our first century of golf, 25 years of the Desert Highlands golf lifestyle, 50 years of Scottsdale Charros community service and spring training support, the life of civic leader Zena Kuhn, and Scottsdale's grassroots effort to create the McDowell-Sonoran Preserve. She's also published hundreds of history features in a variety of publications and contributed to other books. To Joan, research and writing is the first step in telling the backstory of how the people, places, and events in Scottsdale have changed over the decades. In all her client and pro bono projects, her goal is to encourage pride and involvement among Scottsdale residents and businesses so that Scottsdale keeps its very special cachet. She's given hundreds of presentations to civic, alumni, business, and veterans groups at museums, libraries, resorts, senior centers, churches, clubs, and work sites. She's consulted with companies, resorts, the city, and nonprofits to restore their lost bits of history and helped each group commemorate the significant contributions they've made to Scottsdale. Joan was instrumental in establishing the Scottsdale Public Library's digital archive of historic photographs in 2006, giving residents, students, and a global audience online access to retro Scottsdale. She's also been the Scottsdale Chamber's historic consultant for the past 15 Scottsdale History Hall of Fame events, interviewing 79 honorees or family members in order to present their history-making lives to the community. Joan is a consummate community volunteer. She's chaired the Human Services Commission and partners for Paiute Neighborhood Center Board and serves on Concerned Citizens for Community Health at Vista del Camino. An ardent supporter of preservation, Joan has served on the McDowell-Sonoran Preserve Commission and the McDowell-Sonoran Conservancy Desert Discovery Center Scottsdale boards. She combines her love of history and the arts by serving on Scottsdale's Museum of the West Board and the Scottsdale Historical Society Society Advisory Board, a graduate of Scottsdale Leadership Class 9, and recipient of the Frank Hodges Alumni Achievement Award. She is a frequent speaker and bus tour guide for leadership classes. Joan served on the Friends of the Scottsdale Public Library Board for 12 years and received the library's Spirit of Literacy Award. She's a trustee of the Pinnacle Presbyterian Church Foundation and was Women of Scottsdale's 2002 Woman of the Year. Joan and Jean loved to golf and travel, right up to his untimely passing in 2012. She continues to travel with friends and family, is an avid reader of thrillers and historic novels, and attends a wide range of lifelong learning programs. As Scottsdale evolves and matures, Joan will enjoy helping us understand how we got to where we are and give us a sense of place. She'll inspire us with examples of Scottsdale's historic, big, hairy, audacious ideas to help us forge a bright future. Whether entertaining with photos of Parada del Sol or spring training, or describing golf on dirt fairways, or saluting World War II aviation cadets at Thunderbird 2 Airfield, Joan Fadala is Scottsdale's storyteller, curator of colorful characters, and relentless retropreneur. Rachel Sacco, 2016 Scottsdale History Hall of Fame honoree. Describing Rachel Sacco as one in a million is an understatement. For 30 years, she has been at the forefront of Scottsdale's multi-billion-dollar tourism industry. She's guided the evolution of Scottsdale as a vibrant, welcoming destination for millions of visitors a year. And all that she's accomplished in the name of tourism has also enriched the lives of those who live and work here. 2-year-old Rachel first loved Scottsdale through her visits to the Sugar Bowl when her family lived at the Deo Apartments on 2nd Street. Growing up in Arkansas, Rachel returned to this area as a communications major at Arizona State, where she graduated with honors in 1979. While at ASU, she met Joe Sacco. They married and raised their 3 now-grown children in Scottsdale. Rachel spent 7 years at the Phoenix and Valley of the Sun Convention and Visitors Bureau. After gaining valuable insight, experience, and contacts by marketing the region and state, she was pleased to accept the offer to head up the Convention Tourism Division of the Scottsdale Chamber of Commerce in 1986. As she began her new role, Scottsdale had a solid but somewhat laid-back tourism image, with resorts and attractions doing most of their own advertising. Rachel commissioned the first major destination marketing research study, then used the results to bring Scottsdale hoteliers and hospitality industry businesses together for cooperative advertising and promotional programs. Rachel orchestrated a partnership with the town of Paradise Valley to promote its hotels and resorts along with those in Scottsdale, and helped PV enact its first bed tax dedicated to tourism promotion. More recently, she's negotiated agreements with the Fort McDowell and Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian communities to market their properties, thus creating a greater Scottsdale area coalition for visitors, meetings, and convention attraction. In 2001, the Scottsdale Convention and Visitors Bureau became an independent organization, with Rachel as its first president and chief executive officer. Although separate, she works closely with the Chamber of Commerce in order to create the best possible business environment for all of Scottsdale. Rachel's ability to build and nurture relationships is among her most outstanding qualities. She's assembled a team of creative and forward-thinking tourism professionals that has garnered countless national awards for customer service, marketing excellence, and destination management. The longevity of individual CVB staff members is testament to her charismatic leadership style. She's successfully brought would-be competitors to work together on tourism programs. Rachel has also advocated, on behalf of the hospitality industry, for issues that would significantly impact Scottsdale. Among these issues were passage of a Martin Luther King Jr. holiday and funding land purchases for the McDowell Sonoran Preserve through passage of a modest sales tax increase. She has also built a great rapport with Scottsdale residents by continuously communicating the many benefits that tourism brings to Scottsdale. By keeping residents informed and engaged, Rachel says they become the source of Scottsdale's reputation as a friendly, welcoming destination. Rachel continuously initiates research studies and rebranding campaigns and is a masterful trend spotter. She's been the hospitality industry's catalyst for embracing change. From ushering in the era of hosting major golf tournaments, to expanding signature events at Westworld, to encompassing dozens of new luxury resorts and spas, to marketing via the internet and social media, Rachel, her team, and hospitality partners have continued to keep Scottsdale a premier travel and meetings destination. The economic impact of her leadership is astounding. More than 8 million people visited Scottsdale in 2014 and spent nearly $1.4 billion. Meetings booked by the Scottsdale CVB generated an impact of $95.5 million. Rachel is the face, heart, and soul of Scottsdale tourism, locally and nationally. She's a board member of the U.S. Travel Association and the Arizona Lodging and Tourism Association, and was selected to participate in a White House Tourism Summit. She's given thousands of talks to groups ranging from concierges, ASU students, and golf media to government officials, industry professionals, and trade show audiences. Among her numerous honors, she's been inducted into the ASU College of Public Programs Hall of Fame, Arizona Culinary Hall of Fame, and Arizona Governor's Tourism Hall of Fame, and received Scottsdale Leadership's Drinkwater Award for community leadership and service. Family is the most important element of Rachel's life, and she's shared many of Scottsdale's favorite events with Joe, Sarah, Nicholas, and Julia. They love to travel, and this puts Rachel in the role of being a tourist in someone else's destination. Now entering her 4th decade of serving Scottsdale, Rachel Sacco continues to share her energy, warmth, intellect, and communication talents to keep our community and its hospitality industry thriving and inviting. She has skillfully helped Scottsdale blend the Old West with the New West, and always keeps the best interests of Scottsdale as her guiding light. Rachel will tell you that the spirit of the West is in Scottsdale's DNA. It's obvious that that same optimistic, dynamic spirit is in her genetic makeup too. Fred Unger, 2016 Scottsdale History Hall of Fame honoree. Years ago, Fred Unger set a career goal for himself: to create special, timeless places in collaboration with creative people that leave an enduring benefit to their surrounding areas. He's accomplished that goal many times over, and Greater Scottsdale is his thankful beneficiary. Born in Chicago, Fred and his family moved often throughout his youth before settling in California. After earning a finance degree from the University of Southern California, he entered the real estate development business. His first big success was acquiring the corporate headquarters for renowned filmmaker George Lucas. During his California years, Fred met his wife Jennifer, and together they launched National Western Capital Corporation. A change in business direction brought the Ungers and their 4 young children to Scottsdale in 1987. His first local projects, redevelopment of Scottsdale Manor and a property at Scottsdale Road and Lincoln Drive, introduced him to creative talent, financial resources, and exciting opportunities that would become his winning formula into the future. Fred and Jennifer started Scottsdale-based Spring Creek Development in 1992. When the Hermosa Inn came on the market in the early 1990s, Fred jumped at the chance to restore and breathe new life into the historic property. It took 3 bids to acquire the burned-out shell of what artist Lon McGargy built as his home in 1934, and what had become a rustic inn. Fred credits a great team of architects, designers, contractors, hotel industry experts, and culinary specialists for the remarkable transformation of the Hermosa Inn and its signature restaurant, Lon's. The Ungers' attention to detail and authenticity and their sense of style ensured the recreation of this historic place into a luxury boutique hotel. and a sought-after destination. Fred again persevered through 3 arduous rounds of bidding to acquire the equally historic Royal Palms Inn. He and his team spent 2 years meticulously restoring and rebranding the Royal Palms as a luxury resort that has attracted presidents as well as newlyweds. The resort's signature restaurant, T. Cook's, received an unprecedented 5-star rating upon opening. Fred scored a win-win in 1996 by hosting an ASID designer show house at the Royal Palms, which brought thousands to see the restored property and benefited the Phoenix Symphony. Always looking for a new opportunity, Fred was inspired by 2 articles he read in the late 1980s. One that did not list any Scottsdale location among America's top 60 public places, and the other outlining a vision to redevelop downtown Scottsdale as an urban oasis. In collaboration with the city of Scottsdale, he presented a plan to transform the long-ignored Arizona Canal and its core downtown location into a destination attraction called the Canals of Scottsdale. Although that plan was defeated by voters in 1999, Fred knew he was onto something very special for Scottsdale. He began to acquire properties along the southern bank of the canal and continued to work with the city as he honed his concept of a franchise-free district of eclectic retail, restaurants, office, and event space. Unger's reimagined South Bridge District opened with great fanfare in 2007 and was all he promised it would be, a destination on the south bank of the Arizona Canal that was populated by one-of-a-kind restaurants, a retail area called The Mix, and office tenants who represented a range of Scottsdale professionals. The district gained international exposure when ESPN broadcast live from an outdoor Southbridge stage during the week leading up to the 2008 Super Bowl. Just as this innovative destination was taking off, the Great Recession hit. All of his restaurants closed. Many retailers couldn't survive the economic downturn. Undaunted, Fred searched to find new tenants and talent, and slowly but surely, Southbridge emerged stronger and better than ever. Southbridge again gained national attention as the host site for ESPN's broadcast of the 2011 National College Football Championship. As driven as he is, Fred always makes time for community service. He's served on the boards of the Scottsdale Convention and Visitors Bureau, Scottsdale Public Art, and Scottsdale's Museum of the West, and has participated in countless city planning and visioning groups. As an active member of Paradise Valley United Methodist Church, he's made numerous mission trips to Mexico, and for years mentored a high school boys group. Among his memorable honors are induction into the Culinary Hall of Fame and receiving the Love-Hate Award from the American Institute of Architects for the Royal Palms remodel, a distinction that he says keeps him grounded. Fred and Jennifer have been business as well as life partners for 38 years. They feel blessed to have 3 of their 4 children living in Scottsdale. Fred is also fortunate to work with sons Carter and Austin in managing the sales and marketing for Westworld. Fred's greatest joy is spending time with Jennifer, their adult children and spouses, and their 5 grandchildren. Spring Creek Ranch in Young, Arizona is a favorite family gathering spot. In fact, he says if his next project doesn't pan out, he'll be happy to spend more time at the ranch playing with his grandkids. Fred Unger has taught Scottsdale new ways to preserve the special places of our past while making them magnets for current and future multi-generational audiences. He is an entrepreneur's entrepreneur, mentoring and valuing local talent and creativity. Fred has also demonstrated the value of pursuing big dreams, staying in for the long haul, creating special places, and making each project pleasing to the neighborhood in which it is located. Scottsdale Sister Cities Association 2016 Scottsdale History Hall of Fame honoree. Long before the internet and Skype made the world seem smaller, members of the Scottsdale Sister Cities Association were forging international relationships the old-fashioned way, through face-to-face, people-to-people exchanges. Since 1969, this all-volunteer group of globally minded residents has fostered friendships, economic and tourism development, student and teacher exchanges, and intercultural programs that link Scottsdale with 8 communities on 5 continents. Business leader and then Scottsdale City Councilman Paul Messenger is credited with suggesting the city's first international partnership, one that paired Scottsdale with Alamos in Sonora, Mexico. Officials and residents traveled to each other's cities, then formalized their relationship under the auspices of Sister Cities International. Founded in 1956 by President Dwight Eisenhower, the mission of Sister Cities International is to promote peace through mutual respect, understanding, and cooperation, one individual and one community at a time. Over the decades of our sisterhood with Alamos, hundreds of Scottsdale residents and school children have participated in exchanges for educational and cultural experiences. Scottsdale's sister cities organized book drives, provided technical assistance during a water shortage, and donated much-needed firefighting equipment to Alamos. Inspired by the beauty and architecture of our Sonoran partner city, a replica of the bandstand and central plaza of Alamos was constructed at Scottsdale's McCormick-Stillman Railroad Park in the early 1980s. Based on the success of its first sister city relationship, the Scottsdale Sister Cities Group began to establish additional ties to cities around the world. In 1987, they linked with Cairns, located near the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. A sister city relationship with Kingston, Ontario, Canada came about in 1994 through then-Mayor Herb Drinkwater's ties to his hometown and frequent summer vacation spot in New York. Linking up with Interlaken, Switzerland came about in 1999 thanks to Scottsdale businessman and Swiss consul Max Heckler's efforts. Haikou, on China's island province of Hainan, became Scottsdale's sister city in 2010. A friendship with Marrakesh, Morocco that began in 2005 was formalized as a sister city in 2013. And in 2014, Uasin-Gishu County in Kenya, Africa became Scottsdale's most recent international partner. In 2015, Scottsdale Sister Cities linked up with Killarney, Ireland as a twinning or friendship city, thus raising Scottsdale's global reach to 8 communities. The all-volunteer nonprofit Scottsdale Sister Cities Association is self-funded, with some City of Scottsdale support, and credits its success to numerous community partners who share the organization's passion for intercultural, international contacts, and connections. Working with the City of Scottsdale, the Scottsdale Unified School District, the Scottsdale Convention and Visitors Bureau, Scottsdale Community College, the Scottsdale Cultural Council, Honor Health, Mayo Clinic, Arizona State University, and many others, Scottsdale Sister Cities has collaborated on mutually beneficial exchange programs. Sister Cities has become the official international relations group for hosting foreign delegations and special events. Scottsdale Sister Cities has sponsored numerous Scottsdale student and teacher visits to each of our sister cities, and in turn has hosted visits to Scottsdale by students and teachers from each of our sister communities. During the visits, students stay in each other's homes and attend school and community programs in order to learn firsthand about the other's way of life. Sister City-affiliated international clubs are active at several Scottsdale high schools and have found many high-tech ways to stay in contact with their new international friends. For years, Sister Cities has sponsored an art and writing contest, encouraging local youth to express their global views in creative ways, then displaying the work at the Scottsdale Center for the Performing Arts. The Scottsdale Sister Cities Association has initiated a variety of tourism and economic development programs that have raised awareness of visiting or doing business with Scottsdale around the globe. For example, officials from Haikou have visited Mayo Clinic and Honor Health to exchange medical knowledge, and Haikou has also sought Scottsdale expertise as it develops its golf industry. Sister City art and music exchanges have enriched the lives of Scottsdale residents and visitors for decades. Performances by the Alamos La Estudiantina musicians at Old Mission Church, an exhibit by Haikou artists at the Civic Center Library, and photography and fiber art exhibits from Cairns in the Scottsdale's Center for the Performing Arts are examples of recent programs. Sister Cities has also hosted dinners at Scottsdale Community College's culinary school that features the cuisines of our sister cities. In today's fast-paced and often volatile international environment, the friendships and business relationships facilitated by the Scottsdale Sister Cities Association have never been more important. For more than 47 years, this dedicated group of volunteers has been able to send positive messages about Scottsdale and its people to every corner of the globe and bring a bit of foreign culture right to our doorsteps. They are truly champions of peace, prosperity, and the value of person-to-person contact. Barrett-Jackson Auto Auction Company, 2016 Scottsdale History Hall of Fame honoree. The Barrett-Jackson Auto Auction Company is the ultimate Scottsdale success story. What started as a library fundraiser in the late 1960s has become the world's greatest producer of collector car auctions and experiences. Beyond the acres of classic cars, automobilia, casts of celebrities, a worldwide television audience, and hundreds of thousands of attendees at Barrett-Jackson's annual event in Scottsdale, there is the story of a homegrown, family-owned company that continues to give back to the local community. Classic car buffs Tom Barrett and Russ Jackson coincidentally moved their families from Illinois and Michigan to the Scottsdale area within months of each other in 1961. Tom opened a real estate agency. Russ and his wife Nellie started a car wash on McDowell Road. Tom's ad to sell a vintage Cadillac caught Russ's attention. They met, became friends, and the rest is collector car history. While the two men were running their businesses and raising families, they also made time for community service. The Barretts and the Jacksons staged the Fiesta de los Auto Elegantes vintage car show at the Scottsdale Ballpark in 1967 to raise money for the new Scottsdale Public Library and a planned arts center. The Fiesta attracted car fans of all types, and the two families continued to host the charity show for several years. Tom and Russ decided to turn their car collecting hobbies and charity show successes into a business, and the Barrett-Jackson Auto Auction Company was born. Combining cars from their own collections with those of others, Tom and Russ auctioned 150 classics at their first event in December 1971. In its inaugural year, the auction began setting world records. An armored Mercedes-Benz 770K sold for a then unprecedented $153,000. During its early years, the annual Barrett-Jackson Collector Car Auction took place in a vacant lot next to the Safari Resort at Scottsdale and Camelback Roads. Classic pre-World War II cars were the big sellers, particularly those with famous pedigrees. Tom Barrett traveled the world, seeking the most unusual and desirable cars. Russ and his eldest son Brian were expert auto restorers. Russ ensured that his younger son Craig, then a Coronado High School student, learned the hands-on part of the collector car business too. Nellie Jackson was the first in the office and the last to leave, handling the myriad of tasks required to run the business and its signature event. This winning combination of skills and car savvy grew the event every year, and the auction moved to Scottsdale's southern flanks to Phoenix Municipal Stadium, where it was held from 1977 to 1988. After years of persistence, Scottsdale Mayor Herb Drinkwater lured the Barrett-Jackson auction to Westworld in 1989, where it's been staged ever since. During the 1990s, the Barrett-Jackson transformed from successful car auction to global extravaganza and experienced major changes in leadership, with the untimely deaths due to cancer of Russ Jackson in 1993 and heir apparent Brian Jackson in 1995, and the retirement of Tom Barrett. Craig Jackson took the Barrett-Jackson helm with his mother Nellie by his side. Craig, a car guy and a techie, integrated new technologies and media into every aspect of the company, from internet bidding to live telecasts on Speed Vision to its own reality show, Life on the Block. He also took the bold move to make the mega auction no reserve, allowing for more true market value bidding and selling. He and his team also welcomed a new generation of car collectors who brought with them a love for everything automotive. While the company and its signature auction were gaining global exposure and expanding to other cities, Craig ensured the Barrett-Jackson continued to be a great asset to his hometown, Scottsdale. Barrett-Jackson added events and attractions during the auction to appeal to a wider audience, from fashion shows to vendor expos to family days to charity galas. He also worked with the city of Scottsdale to outline improvements to Westworld that would keep the auction in Scottsdale and also benefit other major events held at Scottsdale's premier event location. Barrett-Jackson Marketing has always capitalized on its Scottsdale location, enticing car aficionados to come to the January show, enjoy the warm weather, shop, play golf, and stay in the city's world-class resorts. Proof of success is in the numbers. In January 2016, the 45th annual Barrett-Jackson attracted 350,000 attendees during its 9-day run, sold over $102 million in cars and $3 million in automobilia, and raised more than $3.4 million for charity. True to its 1967 roots, Barrett-Jackson continues to produce blockbuster results for Scottsdale. By auctioning off celebrity vehicles or hosting charitable events during the auction, Barrett-Jackson has raised over $88 million net for charity to date. Charitable efforts have focused on children, veterans, and medical research. With auction sales topping $100 million annually, the tax revenue generated by Barrett-Jackson is substantial, and the economic impact created by out-of-town consigners, bidders, and attendees contributes immeasurably to Scottsdale's economy, healthy business, and tourism environment and quality of life. For nearly 50 years, Barrett-Jackson has whetted and satisfied our appetite for classic and collector cars. They've entertained us, enriched us, and put us on the map. Barrett-Jackson has grown with Scottsdale, and we've grown quite attached to the cachet and car culture they've created for our community. Hammer down, Scottsdale sold on Barrett-Jackson. Leslie Nyquist, 2016 Scottsdale History Hall of Fame Lifetime Achievement Award. For over 40 years, Leslie Nyquist was the friendly face and consummate organizer of executives and events at the Scottsdale Chamber of Commerce. She was also the annual producer, heart and soul of the first 22 years of the Scottsdale History Hall of Fame. Her retirement in 2014 culminated a lifetime of achievement that greatly benefited the Scottsdale Chamber of Commerce, its members, and the entire community.
There are certain people that you meet in your life that leave an impression that you consider when you think back of all the people you've known. And Leslie is one of those people that I will always remember and still enjoy seeing her every opportunity I have. Because she's always, even though she's no longer working at the Chamber, she's always interested in how things are going, and she has a vested interest in the Chamber.
This Illinois native arrived in Arizona to work at a guest ranch and moved to Scottsdale to run the Prince's Pantry Gourmet Shop on Main Street. In January 1973, she moved a few doors down on Main Street to work at Scottsdale Chamber of Commerce.
In meeting her back in 1973, I was impressed on how friendly and outgoing and positive she was, and always willing to be helpful. And those characteristics never changed in all the 43 years that I've known her.
During my term as a chairman of the Chamber, I worked with Leslie weekly for a couple-year period. And Leslie was certainly a delight to work with. She was always willing to help out and do anything you asked her to do. She never complained. She always asked if there was something else she could do to assist. And I think Leslie is a fantastic example of what the Chamber spirit is all about.
Leslie helped the Chamber grow and served in many capacities, from tourism promotion to event coordination, board of directors management, executive assistant to the chamber president and CEO, and more. She also served as the administrative assistant for the first 10 years of Scottsdale leadership, working with Martha Green.
With any organization, one of the important things for appropriate succession and moving an organization forward is continuity and that institutional memory. And Leslie was that institutional memory. The board, of course, had its own succession plan, but Leslie had her own plan. And she provided that continuity from year to year, chair to chair, committee person to committee person, issue to issue. She was that memory bank, and that is so important for an organization.
When the past President's Council of the Scottsdale Chamber suggested creating the Scottsdale History Hall of Fame as a signature community event, Leslie was the natural choice to organize it. She knew and had worked with nearly all of the inductees, and in many cases, she had played a role in their history-making lives.
You know, over the years, Leslie was the rock that really held the History Hall of Fame event together, and without Leslie's involvement and support over the years, we probably wouldn't be here today.
While the Scottsdale History Hall of Fame, the whole concept was generated by a group of past presidents and continued to be managed and sustained by the presidents, it was really Leslie's project. It was Leslie's event. She loved the History Hall of Fame, not only because of the fact that it honored good people in our community, but she was able to go and she got to see all of her old friends, and it was something that she just embraced and loved. History Hall of Fame was Leslie's event. She did all of the work behind the scenes and didn't let any of us touch it.
Leslie was one of those people you just enjoyed being around, and she inspired all those around her. And Leslie will always be remembered as just a leading force in the History Hall of Fame for the city of Scottsdale.
She's very much of a family person, devoted to her family, to her children. Never said no to her family. And a lot of people don't realize that Leslie was also very much involved in the community. She's been working with hospice forever, ever since I've known her, and would go every Friday night and Saturday and volunteer and work with people and share that big heart of hers.
And I guess on behalf of all the past chairmen, I want to say thank you, Leslie, for your dedication to the Chamber, to the Scottsdale Committee, and to the History Hall of Fame event.